Myself, A. Krishna Chaitanya, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology. Today's topic, Introduction and Basics of HTML in Web Technologies. First of all, we'll see some introduction to web technologies. Afterwards, we'll see about basics of HTML. So what is web technology? The methods by which computers communicate with each other through the use of markup languages and multimedia packages is known as web technology. Before going to definition, we have to understand why you have to study web technologies. In olden days, or without this web technology, if you have text, how you communicate with each other, how the people can transfer the data, how you can get the information. To do all this, we not need to learn, we need to have web technology. Without web technology, we can't do anything nowadays. Suppose you have small village, so the data we can exchange easily. But if the world is very big, to transfer the data or to view the data, we need some technology. So that is nothing but here web technology. So the methods by which computers communicate with each other through the use of markup languages and multimedia packages is known as web technology. So by using this web technology, right, we are viewing the data. So by using markup languages and multimedia packages, we are viewing the data which are connected in the internet, the computers, and anyone can view the data by using that URL. So just we are storing the data in a particular website, and anyone can access by using that URL in the internet. To view the data, we need some markup languages and multimedia packages like CSS, HTML, WW, JavaScript, XML, PHP. So these are different technologies. By using this, we are viewing the data to the user in the internet. So we have client-side technology as well as server-side technologies. Some of client-side technologies are HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Coming to server-side technologies, we have PHP, Servlet, JSP, .NET technologies. So at server-side technologies means, so that will run at server and they will connect to the database when your client send request. At client side, we are using browser. By using the browser, by entering the URL, we are viewing your particular website. At client side technologies, by using HTML, CSS and JavaScript, we can validate or we can view the text or image, some text or audio, video or graphical images that we can view at client side in the browser. So at client-side technologies, we have HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Coming to server-side technologies, we have like PHP, Servlets, JSP, .NET technologies. Okay. So finally, so to view the data in the internet in particular format, we have to use markup languages, and to display some multimedia data like graphical image, audio, video like that, then we have to use multimedia packages. By combination of all these, we call as web technologies. So if we want to communicate with computers, we need some technologies that are markup languages and multimedia packages. So before going to basics of HTML, we have to learn some keywords in web technology. So the first one is World Wide Web or Internet, right? So World Wide Web. So web is an information space containing hyperlinked documents and other resources. So World Wide Web. So to open any website, the first you have to enter www, right? World Wide Web. So to open that particular URL or particular website, you have to start with www. That is World Wide Web. What the World Wide Web contains? HTML documents, right? So web is an information space containing hyperlinked documents and other resources. See here HTML, hypertext markup language. Hypertext markup languages. Markup languages are used to display the data in web page. Coming to hypertext, what is hypertext? Linking the documents, one document to another document, that is hypertext markup language. So web is an information space contain hyperlinked document and other resources. And the web is World Wide Web is basically system of internet servers that supports specifically formatted documents. The documents are formatted in a markup language called HTML, that is hypertext markup language, that supports links to other documents as well as graphics, audio and video files. So to display the data in the browser, right, in particular format, we have to use markup language. One of the markup language is hypertext markup language, that is HTML. Right? To connect to these computers, we need internet. Okay. So there is WWR HTML. Next, web page or website. What is a web page? A document which can be displayed in a web browser. Some document, right? So that can be, the document can be text, audio, video, or anything. So if you want to display in browser, what we are displaying in the document that we call as web page. Right? These documents are written in HTML and are translated by the web browser. So whatever written in HTML language, that is translated to in particular text format and displaying in web browser. So web browser also collection of some programs. So by using the web browser collection of programs, we are converting that HTML language document to in the web page. Web pages can either be static or dynamic. So the web page can be either static or dynamic. Static means we can display the data. We can't interact with the web document. By using dynamic web page, we can interact. We can use some inputs, or we can select some text. Not select text. We can click the button. Based on that clicking on button, it can do some validate your web page or connecting to other web page or sending that information to database. Right? Interactive with your web page we call it as dynamic. Static means as it is text is displaying in web browser, and dynamic means we can interact with the web page. So a website is a collection of web pages. Right? And web page is a individual HTML document. Right. Next keyword is web browser. A web browser is a software application for accessing information on the World Wide Web. You want to access, you are entering URL. You want to open some particular website like IARE.ac.in. So you have to, right, in browser, you have to open and you have to type that URL. Otherwise, you want to open some application or app, you have to type that URL in that web browser. So uniform resource locator. So you have to enter the website URL in web browser. Right? So what is a web browser? It is a software application for accessing information on the World Wide Web. When a user requests a web page from a particular website, the web browser retrieves the necessary content from a web server and displays the page on the user device. Suppose we need some information about Zomato, or we want to purchase some food. We have to install that app and we have to enter that URL. Okay, suppose you want to get some information about JNTU. You have to type www.jndh.ac.in. Then you'll get the information about JNTU. Like that, if you want to get any information of particular organization or particular hospitals or reservation details, you have to type their URL in web browser. So then you'll get the information about based on your requirement. Next, HTTP. How we are connecting to the internet by using HTTP. So HTTP is known as Hypertext Transfer Protocol. is the protocol used to transfer data over the web. It is a part of the Internet Protocol, suits and defines commands and services used for transmitting web page data. HTTP uses a server client model. Server client model. So if you want to connect to the internet, you have to use hypertext transfer protocol. So what is a protocol? It is a set of rules for it is standardized by some organization. So you want to do particular task, right? You want to connect to the internet or you want to connect to your particular URL, you have to start with HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol. After that, after writing this, you can type your URL. Here, for example, we can write http://www.iare.ac.in. So we'll immediately, so in browser, if typing this URL, it will display the website of IARE college, and we'll get the detailed information about IARE. Next, HTTPS. So by using this HTTPS also, we can connect to the internet, right? So that is HTTPS is just S is a extension, that is hypertext transfer protocol securely. So we can connect to the internet securely by using HTTPS protocol. It is a protocol where encrypted HTTP data is transferred over a secured connection. Secured connection. So what you are transferring the data or downloading, the data will be in encrypted form. Encrypted. Securely it will transfer the data between client and server. So HTTPS does encrypted of data between a client and a server, which protects against eavesdropping, forging of information and tampering of data. So after when you're transferring the data using HTTPS between client and server, that will transfer in form of encrypted. The human cannot understand what transaction you are doing, what data you are transferring or downloading. The human cannot understand. That will be in encrypted form. Next, the next keyword is web server. Web server is to store, process and deliver web pages to the users. The intercommunication is done using HTTP. So by using web server, so here whatever information, for example, organization IARE.ac.in, so about student information, that will store at server, web server, that we call as server. So server will have all the programs and database, everything is stored in database server. So that will be in web server, that we call as web server, right? So we'll store, process and deliver web page to the users. So whenever the requirement, for example, you want to get information about particular student result, so we can retrieve that. Just we have to enter student information or roll number in at client side, and it will, and when you click on submit button, it will send the information to web server and retrieve the data from database and display the result in web browser in form of HTML, right? So that we call as web server. So where you are storing the data or where you are running server related programs, that we call, where we have the programs that we call as web server. Next, client. A client is a piece of computer, hardware or software that accesses a service made available by a server. So if you want to connect to server, we need web browser. So where the client or user is sitting in front of system and opening the browser and typing the URL, that we call as a client side, client. And he's requesting to the server particular information, right? So a client is a piece of computer hardware or software that accesses a service made available by a server. The server is often on another computer system, in which case the client accesses the service by way of a network. So who need the information? How to open the web browser and typing some URL and connecting to the server, that we call as client side, right? Next, user interface design, UI. So now developers who are developing front-end pages, web pages that we call as UI designer, user interface designer. So many of jobs we have right on UI. So nowadays UI is very important for any organization or hospitals or reservation system to attract the people. The UI is very important to display the more information about that organization. The UI is important. So user interface design is process designers to build interfaces in software or computerized devices, focusing on looks or styles. So that must be attractive. The web page must be attractive. By applying styles, we can change the appearance of your web page. Designers aim to create interfaces which users find to use and pleasurable. UI design refers to graphical user interfaces and other forms. For example, voice in controlled interfaces. Nowadays, latest technology, the UI, they are developing voice interface. By using voice, we can communicate with your computer, or we can play the audio, play the video, or some. We can also write the code also by using voice control. Right? Alexa, for example, Alexa. So just by sitting in some place, and we can tell Alexa play the particular audio. So that is a voice controlled interface. Nowadays, there is more. Many people are using voice controlled interfaces also. Right. So this is some introduction to web technologies. That keywords you have to learn and you have to understand keywords which will come repeatedly in your web technologies. Right. You see, first of all, the introduction to HTML. Introduction to HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is used to design web pages using a markup language. HTML is a combination of hypertext and markup language. So HTML is just by name itself, it's telling hypertext and markup language. What is a hypertext? Hypertext defines the link between the web pages. So we're linking from one document to another document, or within the document we can link, that we call as hypertext. So in website, we have many number of web pages are there. So website is a collection of web pages. So you want to move from one page to another page, or another page to another page, or from the third page to home page. That is possible by using hyperlinking, that we call as hypertext. And markup language is used to define the text document within the tag, which defines the structure of web pages. So if you want to define the document structure in well format, then you have to use markup language. So this language used to annotate, make notes for the computer text so that a machine can understand in and manipulate text accordingly. So based on your requirement, whatever you want to display the text in web document or in web page, that you have to write in between the tags, start tag and end tag. So in markup languages, we are using start element and end element, or we also call it as tags. By using the tags, we have to write the text in between the tag and display the text in browser. So the web browser has application or programs to convert this markup language to in text format, in well document, in well structured format you want to display, then you have to use markup languages. So that is one of the markup languages, HTML. That is hypertext markup language. So by using this, we can view the data or present the data in web browser. HTML is a language for specifying how text and graphics appear on a web page. So not only text, we can present the data like audio, video, animated images, or text, colorful style text also we can display by using HTML, hypertext markup language. HTML is a markup language which is used to create static web pages. So by using HTML, we can create static web pages. So what is the meaning of static? What are you given in text in HTML? Same as displayed in web browser. So we can't change single word also. or we can interact with that page also. So that type of pages we call as static web pages. If you are thinking of creating your own web pages, you need to know at least basic HTML. So we want to display some text in web browser. So that is mandatory how to learn that HTML language. The basics of HTML how to understand how to create the web page. These HTML documents are plain text files. User can create these documents using text editors like Notepad, Gedit, Sublime Text, Amaya, etc. So we can use many number of editors, any editor we can use, right, which are freely available like Notepad, Gedit, Sublime Text Editor, Visual Studio, Amaya. Like that we can use any editor, everything we can use, and we can display the document in web browser. Next we'll see advantages and disadvantages of HTML. For any technology, we have advantage as well as disadvantages. So first we'll see advantages. So easy to learn and use. HTML is easy to learn and use. So many of data is so much of data available in web, internet. So we can learn easily, and we can also use, because no need of purchasing separate software. So we can use that application easily, and we can create our own web page. So easy to learn and use. It is error-free language. Error-free language. If you written something wrong also, the text is displayed in web page. So that is, we calling it as a error-free language. Every browser supports HTML language. So we have many number of browsers we have, like Chrome, Mozilla, Opera, Internet Explorer. Like this, we have many browsers we have. In any browser, the HTML document is displayed. All browsers will support HTML language. It is default in every operating system, so no need to purchase extra software. So no need of purchasing extra software, that is freely installed in all operating systems. Disadvantages of HTML. It can create only static and plain pages. So we can create only static web pages by using HTML. If you want to create dynamic web pages, then you have to add other technologies like JavaScript. For example, JavaScript. To validate your web page or to interact with your web page, we have to add another technology, that is JavaScript. So by using HTML, we can create only static web pages. Need to write lot of code for making simple web page. So for creating small web page, you have to create, or you have to write many number of steps. Security features are not good in HTML. Not good in HTML. So one of the disadvantages is security feature. So we can see the code, what you written, how you written that web page, but we can't display the detailed information. But some information we can view, how they written the web, how you created the web page. So there is a small disadvantage. So we have to focus only on advantages. So history of HTML. HTML was originally developed by Tim Berners-Lee in 1993. So the HTML is developed by Tim Berners-Lee in 1993. He's a great author, right? He's a great scientist, right? Who found or who designed this HTML language, right? Hypertext Markup Language. Its CERN means European Organization for Nuclear Research. He developed this HTML in this CERN organization, and popularized by the Mosaic browser. Initially, they displayed this document, HTML document, in Mosaic web browser. Afterwards, they develop and change the programs, application, and we can run in any other web browsers also. So initially, they developed HTML and displayed in Mosaic web browsers. Developed at NCSA, National Center for Supercomputing Applications. HTML standards are created by a group of interested organizations and individuals called W3C, and it is standard by W3C, that is World Wide Web Consortium. So he's the inventor and founding director of World Wide Web. World Wide Web. So the versions of HTML is initially they named as HTML 1.0 and it is released in 1993 and it supports all basic HTML tags and it like text control and images. So it is not standardized. Afterwards they standardize the HTML 2.0 and it is released in 1995 by adding more features and it is supporting by all the browsers. Also supporting by all the browsers in 1995. Initially, it supports only Mosaic browser. Of course, we can display the HTML document in Chrome or Opera or Internet Explorer, any other browser. Next, HTML 3.0 was released in 1997 and added the feature is supporting for CSS. CSS is cascading style sheets. To change the appearance of your web page, we have to add CSS. To create your attractive web page, we have to use cascading style sheets. To add the styles, more styles to your web page, for example, changing the color or changing the background color, then you have to use CSS, that is cascading style sheets. Or you want to add some box to your text or to move the images, right? Then you have to apply CSS. Next, HTML 4.0 was released in 1999 with external style sheets. And nowadays, we are using HTML 5.0 was released in 2014. Support for new form elements like input elements of different types, geolocations, support tags. Nowadays, now we can also use geolocation support tags by using HTML 5.0 and added more number of features. So that is in history of HTML. History of HTML. Right. So where we are using this HTML, right? In client server communication. Client server communication. See here, client can use desktop, PC or laptop. So he's opening that any local computer or PC or laptop. Here they will use opens the browser, any browser like Mosaic, Opera, Internet Explorer, Chrome, any browser, they can open it and type the URL, required URL in browser, right? And it is connected to internet. By after typing and press enter, it will connect to the internet. Through internet, it will identify the web server of which you are enter URL. After identifying that URL in internet that is connected to the web server, based on your requirement, you want to retrieve some data from database, that is run some application or program and connect to the database. And retrieve the database data and again it's sent through internet to the client in form of HTML. Again, the output also displaying in form of HTML, that is hypertext markup language, that is well structured format. It displays to the client. Right? So like this, we are doing client server communication through internet. So we'll see some basic structure of HTML, how to create the HTML document, right? So an HTML document has two main parts, that is head and body. The head element contains title and metadata of a web document. So the head section. So the HTML contains two parts. The first part is head section and second part is body section. The head section contains metadata of a web document as well as a title. Suppose we want to display some title of the web page. So we write the displayed at top left corner the title. Right, as well as it also contains metadata. So that is head section you have to write. And coming to the body section, the body element contains the information that you want to display on a web page. So whatever you written, what you want to display in the web page, that you have to write in between body element or body tag. the simple structure of HTML document is, see here. So you have to start with the root element is left angular HTML and close with right angular bracket. So this one we called as start element or root element. For every HTML document, the root element is HTML, and this one we call as end element or end tag. So that you have to start with forward slash. So left angle. So the element you have to write or tag name you have to write in between angular brackets. So each element you have start element and end element, right? So HTML tag indicates that this web page is written in HTML. So already we discussed, for every HTML document it contains two sections. One is head section and another one is body section. What about head section? It contains title and metadata. What is the title? Title tag contains the web page title. And body section. Body tag contains the content of web page. What data you have to display in web browser, that you have to write in between body element, right? And slash HTML marks the end of the web page. So this is basic structure of any HTML document. So you have to write in between, you have to start with root element HTML. In between that you have to write head section and body section. Okay. Let's see simple example. So the first line is left angular bracket, negation, doc type HTML. That means we are telling to the browser the document is in HTML document. And the root element is here HTML. In head section we written title, this is my first page. And close the head section. So you have to follow the hierarchy structure. Right? First of all, you have to close the sub element or sub tag. See, first of all, you have to close title. So start tag and end tag. Afterwards, you have to close head section. Afterwards, at last, you have to close HTML, start element and end element. And coming to the body section, we given the BG color is equal to pink. The style we given or attribute or property we given for body section is the BG color is equal to pink. That is background color is pink color. And we also use one more element, that is H1 and B element. So B is for bold and H1 is header section. So that is displayed in maximum letters, higher size. So welcome to Web Technologies is displayed in output stream because we written in body section. So the data is displayed in web document or in web browser. And I have to save this file with, right? Example, the file name is first and extension is HTML. So that is .html. That means hypertext markup language we are using here, right? And save this file with first.html and open in the browser. We can open any notepad or any editor and type the code and save that file and display the output. We'll see the example. Open the notepad. Just type here HTML. Right. Just type your code, that is HTML code, right? And start with body. Whatever you need to display that you have to write in between body element and close the HTML, that is root node. So I want to display some text here, then use H1 element, Web Technologies. For example, Web Technologies subject, right? And save this file. First dot. I given first one dot HTML and select here all files and save it. And go to the folder, right? Now double click on. See here, it will show by default web browser, right? Now we can also do open with Chrome. So you got the output, right? You got the output. Web technology subject. Suppose you want to change the background color, use the BG color, right? Pink. So this here, body is the element and BG color is an attribute. That is means the property of body is the BG color. So displaying the body background color is pink color. Save this file and do refresh. Right? Background color is changed. Right? You want to display the text in small size. Then you have to use header H3, for example. Save this file. Do refresh. Okay. So based on your requirement, we can use elements. So some of the basic, we'll discuss some of basic elements, right? So here we understand how to write, what is the structure of HTML document and syntax and how to save that HTML document. We'll see some basics. First we have to know what is an element. An element is defined by a starting tag. If the element contains other content, it ends with a closing tag where the element name is preceded by a forward slash. So the element has sub-elements. So first of all you have to close sub-element and then you have to close root element, right? So we also call as HTML element as starting tag. So for example, see here HTML is a starting tag and here it is ending tag, right? So like that we have use maximum of elements is start and ending element. But some elements will not have end tag. For example, IMG, HR and BR. These elements will not have end tags. We can use single tag, right? Next, attribute. So already we discussed attributes is a property of element. For example, you given body space BG color is equal to pink. The value you have to give in between double quotes. So properties you have to write in the element right before closing the right angular bracket. There you have to write properties, right? An attribute used to define the characteristics of an HTML element and placed inside the element's open tag. All attributes are made up of two parts, a name and value. The name of is the property you want to set. For example, see here, P is the paragraph and ln is equal to left. Here ln is the attribute or property of P tag. What is the value here? Left. So what are given the text in between paragraph, that is P tag, starting tag, end tag. This text is displayed in left alignment. Suppose you given the ln is equal to right, that is gives the right alignment, right? So based on your requirement, you can display and use the element and attributes, right? So you can also use ln is equal to center of your displaying the text in center of your web page. Use attribute is ln is equal to center. Next, the text we can display in different sizes. Then you have to use heading tag, that is H tag. So H1 to H6 we can use based on the size you want to display. Suppose you are preparing one document that is like thesis or notes you are preparing, the heading must be in big size. Then you have to use H1. The subsection you have to display in small size. Subsection you have to display in very small size. And text in particular size. Then you have to use heading tags. So the start tag is H1 and end tag is H1. Like that we have H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 and H6. So in different sizes you can display the text. For example, see here for heading sections you can use here 6 sizes you can display, right? So H1, sorry, this one is H2. So H3, for example, save this file and do refresh. Right? In different sizes you can display. Like that we can use from H1 to H6. Okay. that is heading tags. And basic tags, other than that, we have bold tag. We have to use B. B is for, you want to display the text in bold letters which are written between B and B/B, that is start tag and end tag, that will display in bold letters. Italic, you want to display the text in italic format, use I element. Mark tag, you want to highlight the text, then you have to use start tag is mark and end tag is mark. In between that, you have to write text. Strike tag, if you want to strike the text, then you have to use strike element. Center tag, if you want to display the text in browser in center, then you have to use center element. You want to change the font style or font size, then you have to use font element. So for example, you want to display this web technologies in center of your web page, then you have to use center element. See here, the entire body, if you want to display in center, then you have to use center element. Right? And save this file and do the refresh. Right? So the entire document is displayed in center. Then you have to use center element. So these are some basic tags you can use in HTML. Right? So we want to change the font family, font color or font size, then you can use font tag as a attribute. Next, HR. Suppose you want to draw in web page some horizontal line, then you have to use HR element. You can also specify the attributes width and color also. Right? For body tag, we have two more attributes like BG color, that is properties. BG color, we already saw how to change the background color of your web browser. Also, you can add background, you can add some images, or we can view some text at background. Then you can also use background attribute. Right? So like this, suppose you want to add image, simply give the attribute that is background, a cement operator. In between double quotes, you have to give the value. So here you given the value is image. The image is displayed at background. So as well as we have two more basic tags, that is subscript. Suppose I want to write formulas A2 plus B2, then you have to use subscript. How to write subscript? Right, SUB. Suppose I want to write A2 plus B2, A subscript 2 and then tag sub plus B2, that is sub 2 and then with sub. So by using subscript, we can write formulas, right? Subscript. So A2 plus B2. Like that, if you want to write, use the subscript. Suppose A square, if you want to write, use the superscript, that is SUP tag. Suppose you want to change the styles for particular part of your document, then you can also use div tag and we can add cascading style sheets. Next, pre tag. Suppose you want to display in tab spaces, right, pre-formatted, then you have to use pre tag. Next, break tag. Suppose you want to display the text in new line, then you have to use BR tag. BR is for break, that is new line character. And last one is Marquee tag. So this tag is used to scroll the piece of text or image of web page either horizontally or vertically, then you have to use Marquee tag. So the text you have to write in between start Marquee and end Marquee. So for example, see here, I want to move this web technology subject which are written in H1, then you have to use Marquee tag. See for example, the first line, I want to move from left to right. Just keep in between MARQEE, Marquee, and close the Marquee. And end with end tag. Save this file and do refresh. See here, it moving from coming to the system, it will moving from left to right. So like that, it move the text from left to right. So any website, see, maximum of titles are moved from left to right. Suppose you want to move from right to left, then you have to use attributes. So behavior, you have to give the behavior is scroll, alternate slide. Scroll is the by default property. It is used to scroll the text from right to left. Suppose you want to change, then you have to use scroll is equal to left. Okay. Or we can use direction up, down, left, right. We can also move from text from up or from down. You can use the attribute. For example, see here, I'm changing the property. So Marquee, direction is an attribute from up. Just save this file and do refresh. So from up, it moves to the upside. Moves the upside. Down means it will move from down. Okay. So these are the properties you have to understand in Marquee tag. Scroll amount. It defines scrolling speed in seconds. How many seconds? Slowly you want to move, then you can specify here number of seconds. How much time you have to take to move from position to that position, ending position. Scroll delay. Defines scroll delay in sounds. Okay. So these are the basic tags of HTML, and we'll see remaining in next session. So today's class we learn introduction to web technologies and basic HTML tags and structure of HTML, that is hypertext markup language. To view the data in web browser, you have to write in HTML, that is hypertext markup language. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.